Xbox has had some interesting times recently. Now, I haven't really kept up on Xbox, but I've heard they've introduced a handheld. I know the big appeal for Xbox is their Game Pass. Hopefully, this explains what's actually going on with
The,
it.
as of now, not so jolly green giant
Hmm.
Microsoft Xbox just pink slipped about 9,000 people July 2nd.
Ooh, 9,000. Man, it's I know that they're not doing very well with their actual console sales, but as far as like their software, I mean, their Game Pass is so really. I mean, it's understated how awesome Game. Honestly, it's a really good service. So like, I mean, is that not really making it worth, the shortage of console sales? I don't know, man. Obviously not, dude. 9,000. Man, and then they're buying all these game companies on top of it, or they were buying. I don't know if they still are. Why would they? I don't know. It just is. It seems like that's kind of a scary. It's kind of a big number, man. Or how many of those are from like all those game franchises they've bought? It's kind of sad. I don't know.
25.
That is a
They
little worrying.
axed the long-teased Perfect Dark reboot, shuttered the initiative, and quietly nudged Rare's decade-in-the-making Everwild into an unmarked grave they've been digging for.
See, they bought Rare, and now they're just completely destroying that whatever IP they were working on. It's
God knows how.
Obviously, it might have not been good on release, and like a lot of times they do shut this because they're just like, hey, it is not marketable, it doesn't make sense. But 9,000 says maybe something otherwise, that they're just doing mass layoffs and they just thought it wouldn't be profitable or people wouldn't be interested immediately without giving it a chance.
It is, unfortunately, the bigger and better sequel to last year's Carnage, when Xbox decided that Hi-Fi Rush, their massive hit, was warranting of closing the studio, and Redfall.
That one was a huge disappointment. That did amazing. I didn't get to play it, but I heard amazing things about it. It looked very unique. It's fucking sad. It really is that was a promising studio that they made a couple other games I like. That we could look at later if you guys are interested. But actually, really quick. Oh man, yeah, amazing games, absolutely amazing work games. They've made Evil Within 2, Ghostwire Tokyo. They have a pretty good lineup. Yeah, it's a shame. That is a huge shame.
Fall was Redfall. There was nothing that really could have been done about forcing a studio that makes immersive sims to make a stupid live service heap of vampire nonsense. Oh, except maybe not forcing them to do that and then complaining when it doesn't work. I mean, that was kind of a built-in ZeniMax problem, but still. Nothing says we believe in the power of our studios like closing them, while...
Yeah, okay, well, let's go back here.
Says we believe in the power of our studios like closing.
Xbox is shutting down Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and other studios. Story hitting Bloomberg shortly. Dude, that just fucking sucks, man. It's just like, why are you buying all these game companies if you are willing to, put out the fucking cheddar to keep them going? It's just like, you should worry now if they buy the company. You're just like, oh shit, please don't, And these companies might think it's good at first, but then this happens.
Them. While Phil Spencer insists he's not retiring anytime soon, the new Xbox strategy looks a lot like if you can't beat them, publish on their platform. Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, they're all sailing onto Sony's turf, and Hellblade 2 is hot on their heels. Meanwhile, Game Pass is stalled at 35 million subscribers. Not a number to shake a stick at, but it hasn't been growing, and it's needed to grow. So Microsoft decided, you know what? Let's start partnering with people to make third-party handhelds. Oh, and they won't play the entire Xbox catalog, just PC games that you don't need Xbox for. Yeah.
Wait, what? Why not just buy the Steam Deck then? What? That makes no fucking sense. Am I crazy? What the fuck? That's super strange. Really? I really want to know the thought process on that. What? Yeah, buy a Steam Deck. How? This can't be much better than that as far as like hardware, and you get the whole Steam library, which has. It's his name, Gabe Newell, the owner of Steam. Gabe Newell. You're fed, dude. That whole library is absolutely astonishing. It has PlayStation games on there too, dude. There's no reason to even buy this over
A lot of
Steam
head
Deck.
scratching
Am I
going
crazy?
on. This is a long intro, but in order to set it up, there's a lot to say. It feels like we've been asking this question a lot, but, well, hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, we are, again, perhaps more fervently and more seriously asking the question, what the hell is going on with Xbox? Alright, so the last year hasn't been kind to the Xbox brand with the whole Xbox Everywhere initiative and the many concerning rumors that we've been seeing coming out of Microsoft regarding the future of Xbox hardware, but it seemed like things were kind of on the upswing after Xbox strong showing at Summer Game Fest. That positivity has all but evaporated with the devastating news from yesterday I mentioned at the top. You know, over 9,000. Yes, over 9,000
Okay. Sorry, dude.
people employed at Xbox have been laid off. And Microsoft, could you have...
Well, let's see this. Microsoft confirmed that it's laying off 9,100 employees, or about 4% of its workforce, and yet another round of cuts this year. Oh, God! Reports in Seattle Times. Employees in Microsoft Xbox division, known as Microsoft Gaming, are being hit hard by these layoffs, although exact numbers in the division are not yet known.
At least not done the meme. I don't want to laugh about a bunch of people losing their jobs.
No,
But multiple
absolutely
studios have been
not.
closed for good. Some highly anticipated games have been canceled. Cuts and layoffs are hitting everywhere, even successful areas like Turn 10, and even studios working on frickin' Call of Duty. It appears that nothing,
I gotta see that.
and even studios
Multiple Call of Duty studios hit by Xbox layoff. That's crazy. Well, Call of Duty, I've heard, is going through a hard time. I'm not a big Call of Duty head. It's too much of a Twitch shooter for me. I like the old Call of Duties when I was a kid, but I just haven't found. I've played one recently. I don't. But regardless of that, I've heard they've had a lot of issues recently, which is kind of a shame. From a long-standing series, and they were coming out like every year, and then they slowed that, I think, and now, people are just like completely hopping off, which is crazy to me. It is what it is, but there's so many other shooters out nowadays that just hold people's
is
attention.
working on frickin' Call of Duty. It appears that
Like, you check Twitch. Like, let's go on Twitch right now. Now, this isn't an exact best marker for anything, obviously, right? But where's Call of Duty? Right here? I mean, used to be a time where that thing would be like, bam, somewhere around here. I'm surprised it's even there. Is there some kind of thing going on? No, okay. Well, I mean, it still has some popularity. This is still very impressive. The fact that it's even here is very impressive, in my opinion. But, it just doesn't have the crazy power I feel like it did over people. And who knows? I mean, I don't play the game, so I could be completely off, but it just seems like, from what I've heard, they've been having a lot of trouble.
nothing and no one is safe in this major round of firings. Keep in mind, we're talking about the fourth major wave of firing in the last 2 years. Ever since acquiring Activision Blizzard, it has just been a bloodbath for all involved. This latest thing is a step beyond, though.
Please don't touch Blizzard, bro. Blizzard is having hard enough times with their Khadgar wheelchair shit. Okay? They need to fix. If anything, go in there with an iron hand and be like, what the fuck is this shit? Have you guys seen this? Bro, this is insane. I saw this. Bro.
What the fuck are we doing here?
What is this shit, bro?
This is so weird. Like, you've got
Bro, look at
Khadgar. This guy is a fucking Archmage.
What the fuck
the
is
most
this?
Powerful mage in all of Azeroth. Outmaneuvered the Guardian of Tearsfall, and he's going around on a wheelchair. This is crazy. Like, what is
Dude,
this?
what are you doing? What is this? What is it? What are that? What are those? Old meme, dude. What are you fuck? Come on, man. Come on, bro. Why is bro in a wheelchair, dude? Come on. We're talking about the most powerful mage. At least levitate. Come on, man. He got bested and is in a fucking pink wheelchair. Or, not pink, but like purplish pink. Okay, make fun of me for this, okay? Whatever. But, like, come on, bro. This is, like, so unappealing. Who is this? World of Warcraft used to be so much cooler. Yeah, I just it like blood and fury and revenge and for honor. yeah, this lame.
Excited about a lot of things, but
Dude.
especially representation with not only the queer community, but also with deaf characters who are in wheelchairs.
It was really exciting to see.
It was really exciting to put him in a little wheelchair, have him float around, and
of diverse
he'll fly up the stairs.
Also,
It's crazy, just like real people in wheelchairs. It doesn't even make any fucking sense. What are you talking about?
And it's just really exciting.
Just have him float. He's a literal like god tier mage, right? He's like crazy. It's so insane. All right, let's go back to it. Okay.
So it's not just support staff or QA or redundant management or whatever excuse they came up with for the last ones. This time, Xbox is coming for your job, whether you're in a studio trapped in development hell or in one of their best studios with hits coming out of it. In late June, we actually heard rumblings about potential mass calling of jobs here. And on the 2nd of July, the hammer came down. It wasn't just Xbox, it was all of Microsoft. It's about
so sad to see, dude. Really sad to see. Microsoft makes deep job cuts across Xbox Division, cancels games.
4% of the entire Microsoft workforce, which is, to be clear, insane. The initiative the studio formed to work on the Perfect Dark reboot was in...
Now, people keep saying Xbox or Microsoft has such deep pockets, you can't beat them, But this shows, that they have a very vicious work culture that they're just willing to just let these people off after getting so many different companies on board. It's
shut
very
down.
scary.
The Perfect Dark reboot has been canceled. I mentioned Rare's Everwild as well, canceled. According to insider sources, the cancellation of Everwild is actually leading to the game's director, Greg Mayles, a 35-year veteran of Rare, who worked on games as far back as Donkey Kong Country,
Banjo-Kazooie Sea of Thieves director leaves Rare after 35 years.
Banjo-Kazooie and Viva Pinata bolting. Just like, if you're doing this, I'm out. I'm out, guys. I mean, this is just one person among thousands, but I wanted to highlight him because he's an elder statesman of the games industry, and Mayle's exit from Rare is one of the last nails in the coffin for classic
Can you blame
Rare.
him?
Almost all of the old guard from that studio are just gone, and it's sad to see him go. It's a tough time to be a Rare fan right now, honestly, but in all seriousness, it's not just Rare, it's everything Xbox. Even King, the mobile game developer and massive moneymaker for Xbox, is getting like 10% of its studio cut. Raven Software and Sledgehammer are getting hit with some layoffs. A new IP that was going to be a new MMO from the Elder Scrolls Online guys canceled, and that's far from the only thing getting canned.
Dude. Why? Dude, this makes me really... Microsoft has always been, in my opinion, kind of a shady dealer. But this is like new levels, completely gutting these studios that have been long veterans and have had such respect for their IPs that people would absolutely love to have games from, just getting butchered.
Bethesda. Reportedly, there are multiple unannounced projects that have been canceled. Even John Romero, the influential co-creator of Doom, was not spared Xbox's, well, I guess you could say wrath, but I don't think this is wrath. As somebody who loves video games, these job losses are brutal, and hearing about all these potentially amazing games getting canceled before their time, it's super disheartening. I'm not really a console wars person. I like me some PlayStation.
Yeah, I don't buy into the console wars. If you're I feel like, okay, I have this breakdown. I've thought about this for a while. If you are lower income and you can only pick one system, I feel like the Xbox is the best deal for your money, just because you have the Game Pass and you get so many game libraries on that. If you have a bit more money and you really enjoy like first party titles, I feel like PlayStation might be the better way to go. But then if you have a little bit more money to spend, you're maybe even a bit older, or you just want to have, or if you don't have any other entertainment system, you can X both those out, because then a PC would be more worth it because you have all the different bells and whistles that comes with PC. But like, I feel like as far as like first party titles, PlayStation might have better. Now you could correct me, but I'm not sure what's even come out. Like, let's look at their first party titles. Yeah, I think. Yeah, okay. You know, please correct me in the comments, please. You know, I'm asking. Okay, I'm asking to be shown to fuck up. Please do. But I feel like PlayStation and you know, I haven't really looked at. It's because I play mostly PC. I play only PC really. I play PlayStation. I have a Switch too. But I don't have an Xbox because all the stuff on Xbox is on PC. So I'm like, well, what's the point? They immediately come to them. And the Xbox Game Pass, I don't really personally. I don't have any use. It is an amazing plan that you can get, in my opinion. But yeah, I just feel like your best bang for your buck, if you're like, you can only pick one, the Xbox maybe. If you have lower income, you love playing different games too. Then PlayStation, then PC. Switch is like in its own world, okay? Switch is like its own thing. They have amazing first parties, in my opinion, but you have to kind of be into that shit. And I just feel like, yeah, I don't know. If you're just like playing the newest, brand new, shiniest game, it's between those three, really. I would say you get a PC if you don't have any other entertainment system, because it also brings a huge value for entertainment. But you may not play the shiniest games and the best looking as opposed to these other gaming systems. If you just want strictly gaming, then an Xbox, because they have that Game Pass. And you could save a bit of money just by paying for the Game Pass. Then PlayStation, probably. You know, if you have a little bit more to spend, because you have to spend like $80 per title nowadays, unfortunately. Thanks, Switch and fucking Xbox pricing a vow to 80, bro. Come on, man. Oh no, it was The Outer Worlds.
So Switch, and I like me some Xbox. But as such, I am an Xbox fan, and it's hard not to feel like the sky's falling after all this news. So what does Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft Gaming, do? Why put out a tone deaf?
Although, PlayStation nowadays, I will say this. If you have a PC, you're getting PlayStation games now as well. So it's kind of even getting worse. The only studio which hasn't moved to PC, which I am very annoyed by, is Vanillaware, and I love Vanillaware games. So it fucking, I don't know.
An internal message that sounds more like a press release for shareholders than anything meant to address concerns or help with what is, an absolutely bottom of the barrel morale situation, no doubt. This entire statement is so freaking pathetic. It is pure corpo garbage that inexplicably acknowledges all the job losses while at the same time saying, I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap has never looked stronger. What the fuck is wrong with you, Phil? I'm sorry to curse, but what is that? What is that?
Sorry.
I'll tell you what it is. He's trying to calm investors while addressing the issue for remaining staff, and it just comes off as fake as shit. We've all been willing to give Phil a shot the last few years because things have been tough. I'm not gonna pretend that things are not
No, take him over the coals, dude. Rake him over those
tough.
coals,
It's
dude.
getting harder and harder for anybody out there in them streets, but it's also getting harder and harder to see his run as the leader of Xbox as a freaking disaster. Going from the top of the industry to what is essentially a third-party publisher in just over a decade is something basically only Sega can truly identify with. Like the Genesis was just, it did what Nintendo don't. And the Xbox 360, yeah, it had some pretty big problems to overcome, but they did right by consumers, and that built the brand in a massive way. It's
Xbox 360 was amazing, dude.
arguable that the Nintendo Wii won in terms of pure sales, but culturally speaking, the Xbox was the winner.
Xbox 360 had fucking bangers back in the day, dude. That thing was, I was loving it. Dude, Gears late night, man. Oh, man, I used to play that all night, dude. I had like a little fucking squad. I hope they're all doing well. It bums me out thinking about it. I wish I could retrieve my old gamer tag, but I think it's gone at this point. Yeah, and I doubt any of them even play, fucking crazy. But man, those late nights, man, when I was a kid, I loved Gears of War. I used to play that all fucking night.
Right now, a lot of homegrown Xbox franchises dead in the water, floundering badly. The Division is entirely propped up.
I'm excited for E-Day. I hope it's good. Please pull a win. Please.
by their third-party purchases of Bethesda and Activision. And even then, it seems like, at least right now, the purchase of these massive studios is hurting them more than it's helping Xbox. Like, look at how many
Gears of War E-Day.
cuts are being targeted
In case you guys didn't know.
at Bethesda and Activision. It's not just Microsoft stuff here. It's across the board gaming division stuff. With how things are going at Microsoft, along with all the reports we're hearing at EA and jobs getting cut there.
What's this? EA cancels Black Panther game, closes Cliffhanger games. Oh! Was that the Captain America one? Okay, it's not that one. Okay, that's good. All right. There was another one, I guess. Yeah, right? No, it just got delayed. Which one is he talking about? Is there another one?
It's hard not to feel like the bottom is falling out of the
There must
U.S.
have
games
been
industry. If this really is the beginning of the end of the U.S. dominating video games, it's at least partially a self-inflicted wound, fueled by reckless consolidation and tech industry greed, buying up everything they can without actually understanding why people buy video games.
Yeah.
It's honestly...
They just Microsoft swung their big dick around with their giant deep fucking wallets, buying these companies up, not caring about the fucking love and dedication these people have put into their works, and just like not understanding to some degree, and you can make fun of me for this, making games is an art. Okay, there's a lot of love and player feedback that they take into this and what people like about their games. And they probably just
completely
didn't give a fuck.
infuriating, but it's the narrative that's
Absolutely
being built. It's not just the
disgusting.
U.S. games industry, honestly. There's reports that video game spending is just down across the board.
Oh, year after year, spending in games has declined over 25% among 18 to 24. Yeah, but how much? Oh, no, that's pretty bad, regardless. We're going to see how much the older crowd spend.
After
Still.
COVID, all these companies bet on infinite growth. But hey, remember how we were all stuck indoors and the best thing to do with that situation is play video?
Yeah, that's moronic. The whole COVID thing, fucking... I shouldn't say... That really screwed people's
Video
brains
games,
and
and now we
brains.
aren't all stuck indoors anymore. Oh, there's a shock. Were these people thinking that the disease was going to keep us inside forever? Like, that wasn't the new normal. It was an aberration in
back
human
my
history.
chair.
That's not how human history works. I know people like 28 years later, but that wouldn't happen, man. Not just the whole zombie aspect of it, but like they die
Man,
out.
let's talk... I want to say, that ending, man. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. That completely ruined the shift of that movie. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking in that movie. Liked the movie. Thought it was a great movie, but man. Also, I feel like it wasn't really the same as the other ones. It was like very different a piece.
The zombies starve. They can't think. They just do rage shit. And eventually you run out of energy. That's how diseases work. They become less as they spread antibody. We don't need to get
Another thing I always find weird about zombie movies is like how they stay alive for even that long or have any strength because there's nothing, no proteins going into their system. How are they able to push, pull, or do anything? It's obviously suspend your belief, but yeah, I always find that
Can't
funny
fathom
in
the
zombie movies.
reaction from all these companies that because we're in a pandemic and we're locked down and everybody's playing video games, that's how it's always going to be. I just can't fathom that. There's no set of information that implies that. And yet, geez. And the younger generation is literally getting priced out of their own hobby. Games that casual audiences might actually want, like Perfect Dark, they're not getting made, and Halo is not out of the woods. Who even knows what's going on with 343 right now? I know this is a real downer, but it's...
Dude, who is playing that fucking online Halo game? Nobody did. I have no idea how they let Halo go down this far. Absolutely insane that this is happening.
Pretty hard not to be frustrated with this news. If there's something I can say to counteract the negativity, it's that Xbox isn't dead. All the news that's been dropped the last few days is bad, but that
Who
doesn't mean
knows, dude? Are they going to go to digital only? Part of me, because they're doing this multi-release games. I don't know, man.
it's over. It means there's some major reshuffling going on. They do still have more than 40 games in development. There's at least one.
And then they just grind it down to their online service, which is the because their consoles aren't selling, they just grind it down to what do you call it? Game Pass. I don't know. I don't know, dude.
One more Xbox console in the future, probably. At least that's what we're hearing. Game Pass is
Wait, say that again?
one more Xbox console going on. They do still have more than 40 games in development. There's at least one more Xbox console in the future, probably. At least that's what we're hearing. Game Pass isn't going to go away. 35 million subscribers is a lot. It's maybe not the license to print money Xbox and Microsoft hoped it was, but 35 million subscribers is a success.
Huge.
They should hold on to that because that's, if I'm not mistaken, the current game subscription service that is successful. Like, if there's a Netflix equivalent, it's Game Pass. So the news isn't all bad. It's important to keep in mind that even with all these internal issues at Microsoft, they're de facto still the #1 games publisher in the world. That is because they own both Bethesda and Activision, but still Xbox isn't going anywhere. And yeah, it's easy to lay the blame on Phil Spencer, and certainly he does deserve plenty. Sarah Bond, the president of Xbox, and Max Booty, the president of Game Content Studios, they deserve some blame here as well. But I do want to say this. At the end of the day, they are also just cogs in the Microsoft machine. Phil still has to answer to Satya Nadella, the CEO and chairman of Microsoft, and you better believe that it was probably him and not Phil that was pushing for the reduction in staff. Phil's just caping for it. Unfortunately, though, at the end of the day, Xbox is a small portion of Microsoft's frankly massive empire.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, how much does Microsoft come in and just like see, hey, you know, with their big corporate fucking stats and figures and grids and fucking, and just come in and look at this shit and be like, all right, make cuts here, make cuts here, make cuts here, you know? Hey, look at this graph. Have you seen this graph? Yeah, we should be doing this, and just like don't even fucking care, you know?
The successes and failures of that division are just a drop in the bucket compared to the revenue that the other divisions bring in, which is an important and humbling reminder of just how seriously the company takes the division, which appears to be not that much. In the past few years under Nadella, it's felt like the sword of Damocles was just hanging over Xbox, waiting to fall. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. It's all pure speculation, but it literally just could be that rather than a string of bad decisions. I don't know that I would say it's that, but Phil could have been trying to stave the inevitable off for the past few years, just trying to keep the gaming division alive when the vultures at Microsoft's other divisions are circling. I want to note that this is possible and probably some of the explanation at bare minimum, but it's also not to say that the Xbox team hasn't made serious blunders. The way they've handled their internal studios like 343 The Coalition and the now closed The Initiative has been a disgrace. Xbox was handed some of the greatest IPs ever, like Halo, Gears of War, and yes, Perfect Dark. There was major potential there, and they squandered it with poor management. We've been quick to praise Microsoft's hands-off approach to game development in the past, and it's led to some amazing stuff, especially from Obsidian, who are proving to be the MVPs of the entire division.
I mean, kind of a mixed bag right now. I feel so bad that Microsoft placed their fucking Outer Worlds at $80, and that game already is having hard times. But they obviously, I know that this game particularly does really well.
Lately. Seriously, you know who I haven't had to mention up till this point in the
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Vowed was not that well received. Now, did it probably do well in numbers? Maybe. You know, I haven't looked at that, but I know there was a lot of division on how it like actual gaming of it, or you know, the gameplay of it and the actual game. So
the video, Obsidian, that is of note to say the least. But in the case of,
I played only a little bit of it, and you know, the little bit I played, it was all right. I was enjoying it, but it wasn't like I was hoping for something a little bit more. And you know, it is a shame that it you know, a lot of people have very bad feelings about it, but I haven't played enough to really get a good opinion about it, to be honest.
of other studios management, like of Halo and Gears specifically, maybe a little more hands-on.
What I played, I liked it. But
would have been helpful if they had. Maybe the Initiative wouldn't have floundered for nearly 10 years with basically nothing to show for it with Perfect Dark. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not that hard to make a Perfect Dark game. You could literally just reboot it and do the first game's plot with some changes, and I think everybody would be pretty psyched.
Reboots are in, dude. Reboots are in. You could have done that. People would have ate that shit up with update the gameplay, high-res graphics, bam, make some different areas a little bit, fill them out. Dude, people would eat that shit up for breakfast.
Like, it doesn't even really have to be original as long as it does what it's supposed to do and adds enough that it's not just the same game again. Like, the initiative was formed in 2016.
New weapons a little bit, maybe an extra boss or two for fun, Like, I'd probably do like 10, 15 extra bosses. That would be nice. But
they've had basically nothing but some vertical slices, according to reports. Compare Microsoft's handling of their studios to someone like Nintendo, who's very hands-on. Some developers buckle under the pressure. Yeah, I've seen reports Retro Studios really struggled with Nintendo working on Metroid Prime, but at the end of the day, it's an all-time great game. With Xbox, it's 10 years of nothing followed by cancellation. And that's always been a problem with Xbox to a certain degree, but this slow, gradual transition from major hardware competitor to third-party software developer, publisher, whatever, it's sad to see. Maybe in Microsoft's eyes, this is a more profitable direction to take things, but
they're all profit, baby. They're all about that money. It's all got to be, figuring out like, oh, this digital Netflix type service is going to be where we want to go with Game Pass. This is actually the future. My worry is that they just stop the console stuff altogether and only focus on that, which maybe if they do it right could be a benefit. But then people who are longtime Xbox fans are going to be pretty bummed. And it is sad, to see maybe these consoles dying out, but we'll see. Maybe cloud gaming will come back. Stadia tried it, but maybe it'll be perfected.
Gamer, it feels like the mighty have fallen. It feels like the industry itself, the hobby, not necessarily Xbox, but this is a huge pillar of the gaming industry that is.
And then you just play it on whatever thing you have. You can play it on the PlayStation,
Crumble.
or just download it from the PlayStation. Everything just moves there and you have the subscription through Xbox. Dude, that would be crazy though. We'll see. We'll see.
I told you, I am not a console war.
Maybe, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe just move to some kind of extra system where you could download it through an app. And I don't know the Game Pass thing, but you could download it through an app and play it through any type of TV or anything like that. And it's just a subscription. I don't know.
Seeing this happen to a big company that was this successful, which technically has a much bigger company behind.
I'll probably look that up later because I am really curious about that now.
Behind it, that up until this point has just been willing to fund it to no end. I mean, if you don't see something in those tea leaves, I don't know if you're looking. That doesn't look good. I will say, it could be an economic response to the post-COVID dip, and it may eventually even out. Maybe all this doom and gloom around Xbox is unwarranted. Maybe they had to make these moves, and this is stuff that will end up working out in the future. I don't know. But as an old-time game bird, someone who's watched this happen to Sega and now is watching it again with Xbox, but now in a completely different economic climate, seeing how things have been going the last few years just really sucks. I don't really care about Microsoft's bottom line. I care about video games. In the case of this,
at the end of the day, if we're getting more games, we're getting the games we want. That's what we want, So hopefully they keep publishing. Hopefully they, keep these companies alive and stop cutting them. Hopefully.
Situation. I care about Xbox games and positive feelings I've had about the original console and all the amazing.
You gotta detach yourself from the past. I'm starting to feel that way. Stop looking at these companies from all the past games they've made. Because look at BioWare, man. You gotta at some point you gotta start looking at them for who they are now. Because they aren't who they were in 10, 15 years ago.
In games back on the 360.
It is what it is.
But more and more, the division feels less like that Xbox and more just Bethesda and Activision because they're really doing the lion's share of the game publishing now. Almost all the old stalwarts at Xbox, the games that put the console on the map, they're seemingly dying. I hope that's not the case. I hope Halo comes back bigger and better than ever. But right now, that possibility feels very distant. So to answer the question, what the hell is going on in Xbox? What the hell is up with Xbox? What the hell is this? Well, a lot of people are getting fired and some highly anticipated.
Xbox is closing down Xbox Studio Initiative with Perfect Dark killed as well, joining Everwild, ZeniMax new IP, and other unannounced projects. Oof. Closing the initiative after Xbox is closing the initiative after 7 years. The partnership with Crystal Dynamics will end. and Perfect Dark will be
games
canceled.
are getting canceled. Unfortunately, the vaporware nature of both Perfect Dark and Everwild means that the cancellations are probably justified. These were probably money holes. That doesn't make it not sting, though. What really sucks is the loss of all these other unnamed games.
And I'm sure people will be like, hey, games get canceled all the time. It probably wasn't profitable. It probably didn't look good. But it doesn't look good when we're doing these massive cuts after buying all these companies and, you know, all these long-time IPs getting canceled. It's just... it makes you worry, you know, or be concerned.
Bethesda, including a new IP from ZeniMax. It all just looks really bad for Xbox on the whole, but this was the inevitable result of their purchase of Bethesda and Activision. Like, that's how industry stuff works. Jobs are gonna get lost, but I don't know if anybody really predicted how bad this was going to get. The cutting around 50% of the staff at Turn 10, the guys behind Forza, is especially brutal, as are the cuts at Call of Duty developers like Raven and Sledgehammer. I mean, Call of Duty is basically a license to print money now. Like, that's not changing either. It doesn't have any evidence of changing. So if you...
yeah, they still do pretty well. I know people are unhappy with them recently. That's all I know. But let's look at their stuff. Yes, Call of Duty is experiencing a decline in player base. Who knows, though? Like, let's see here. Call of Duty development budget revealed $700 million for Black Ops Cold War 15. Call of Duty getting more expensive to make, even though it's selling fewer copies. Okay, this is what I'm saying. Like, people are starting to turn a little bit on it. I do know there is some issues. I do. But they're still huge. They are still huge. Interesting. Yeah, it still makes crazy money.
You think anyone would be protected, it would be them. It's a bloodbath across the board. And
now those are all titles, so you know, take it with a grain of salt to some degree. But I bet if I were to read in them, I mean, we see a constant theme that they are losing player base to some degree.
Things might sound really bad. Xbox, unfortunately, whether they deserve to or not, is going
most likely. I think I remember reading that. I do believe that's the case.
To weather the
correct me, please.
Storm. What Xbox,
if I'm wrong,
is going to be after the storm, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But Microsoft is a monolith. They're basically untouchable in the tech space. And at least for now, it seems like there's interest in keeping the gaming division alive. Otherwise, it wouldn't be, you know, a percentage of layout. They could just shut the whole damn thing down. I don't know. Maybe in the future, we'll look back and see this as another step in the decline of Xbox that started all the way back in 2013 with that embarrassing Xbox One reveal. Or maybe not. I hope things stay.
I want to talk about embarrassing reveals. Let's talk about the Switch too. That's a whole nother story.
Not just for the future of...
oh, and there was like nothing on the release. I'm extremely excited that it is cross-platform. I'm extremely excited about Donkey Kong. I'm extremely excited about you know, the new Metroid that'll come out, because I haven't even played Metroids before, so that'll be cool. Mario Kart's cool. I'm not a big Mario Kart fan. They're fun. You know, this one, you know, I played it. It's fun. But it's not really my thing. I'm not like getting super into it. But yeah, very lackluster first party title. Regardless of that, sorry.
Xbox, but for the future of gaming and the developers and workers that are still with the company. And hell, the developers and workers that aren't with the company anymore. There is a serious problem if Xbox is facing the need to cut at this rate. That has implications beyond if they keep their job at Xbox. Are there going to be jobs elsewhere to get? There's a lot up in the air right now. Morale has got to be at rock bottom at the company too. Hopefully things improve for these guys and they're able to make great games, because that's what matters, right? Yeah. That's what we all hope happens. What do you think? Leave us a comment. Let us know.
Great video.
If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, it's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, @FalconTheHero. We'll see you next time right here on Game Ranks.
Cool. Tell me what you guys think. I thought it was a pretty interesting video. Tell me if you are worried about the future of Xbox, or, you know, if you want to correct me on anything I've said, please do so in the comments below. Xbox will survive. They have plans for another console. I don't think they're going to be going anywhere anytime soon, because they are investing money into it. But a lot of these changes are worrying. I do feel bad for these studios, and I want Xbox to kind of turn it around and really kind of actually care about the things that they're buying with their deep fucking pockets. As well as, please fix World of Warcraft. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. And, you know, help Blizzard as a whole, because they're kind of suffering. I like Blizzard. So, yeah. Anyways, Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell your family and friends about my channel. Take it easy, guys. Bye.